Hello and welcome to the Quality Coding stream where you get to see me make a fool of myself live coding. My name is John Reed. Hey, Mudshark. And I am a technical agile coach, a trainer working with industrial logic. And for those of you who are watching this after the fact, do subscribe and like and train the algorithm for you so that my stuff will keep showing up. And because you can always change your mind, right? We got to use the machines in our favor. So poke all the bells and things and see how it goes. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Let's see. What is going on today that I want to mention? I mean, the world is on fire. Russia is still at war. But what's happening? What else is happening? Let's see. On update on stuff I've been working on at Industrial Logic is that in our e-learning, there are several different courses available, which we call albums, as if they were records. And microtesting, I think this is very close to making this public and available for people to buy. Other stuff I've been working on are our code smells. This is all in Swift, mind you now. You can get all these in other languages, but I'm talking about Swift. Microtesting in Swift, code smells in Swift. Yes, I started refactoring, some refactoring work and some test-driven development. So this is fun. I love my job. It is so cool. And let's see, where are we? In terms of how to do things. And what I'm sort of puzzling about is we did all the work. We've made a package. It seems to work. But I kind of want, before I proceed to do other stuff that I kind of want to sort of sneak into a release, or maybe it shouldn't be the same release. Maybe the package should be a release on its own. Maybe this other stuff should be in for another time. You see me waffling a bit. What's wrong with more releases anyway? Okay, having advertised that we would be working on offer nicer API for Objective-C, I'm not sure that's where we're going today, because I want to ship it. That's the goal of things, is to ship things. So here's what I'm thinking about. We have, in my somewhat convoluted directory structure here, and I hope you can sort of see that, we've got in View Controller Presentation SPY, we have all the sources for the actual framework. It is included as a subproject in the Swift sample and the Obj-C sample. And then recently, we were able to make the Swift sample package as opposed to this one. But this is just a copy. Like everything in here is the same except for the project saying, deciding where it was going to get View Controller Presentation SPY from. And I kind of want to put this into my tests as far as whether the package is still working. Remember, when we first did it and it sucked in the package and it was like the test failed, right? That whole problem around is the key what I thought the key was an address, a string specifically, like an address of a string. It turns out that's not so. And I was doing some things wrong and it worked. So it worked in here, but it didn't work in here. So that makes me nervous. And I feel like I need to pay attention to my nervousness. That's kind of a good practice in general, is to try to sense what's going on inside. I'm still seeing like 0 people here, which I don't think is true. And I feel like maybe I didn't set this up correctly. Hang on. I do want to know. Let me stand by just 1 second. I'll try to see if I can't. Hello? Nope, it's not going to cooperate. Okay, never mind. I'll sort it out later. All right, so I really did like having these samples directly pulling in the project as a sub-project, because that let me iterate quickly. But I don't like having a copy. So I think the first thing I want to do is change these to reuse the same folders as change these to use this in the package folder to reuse the same things as over here. So I'm flying a little blind as far as how many people are here, and I think my thing is not working. Yeah, it's not hooked up. Darn it. Okay, I definitely broke things. But let me just say hello and where in the world you are. Even if you're just stopping by briefly. All right, so Mudshark's in Sweden. He doesn't have to say that. But anyone else who's here, do say hello. Only you? Well, this is what I get for all the Europeans going on summer vacation. For all I know, Mudshark, you're on summer vacation. Ah, Europe. Like, it could never work, all this European stuff. From vacations to universal health care, those things are completely impractical and could never work. All right, well, that's fine. Folks can watch this on the replay, and I know people do watch the replays. So thanks for sticking with me, and even if you have to bug out, by bug out I mean if you have to leave Mudshark, of course, never feel any pressure. So I want to set these up. I want to set up a package, and I want to set it up something that uses a package and have it be part of my my tests. So that, I think this is a good place to start. All right. That being the case, let me, shoot, I'm using terminal, so this is all wrong. Let me try to switch this to something bigger. Wow, that's big. That should be big enough for people to see. So if we go to the spy, where we have Swift package, Swift sample package, and Swift sample, let's go into Swift sample package, which has these folders, and let me rip these out. Starting with sample app. And what I'd like to do is make a symlink to the Swift sample, and it is sample app. Like, whoa, is that the wrong way? Did it remove all the, I think it probably removed all these files, but the folder is still there. Let me get rid of the folder and do the symlink again. There. There. Now it looks different. You see, it is no longer a folder. It is a link. Now let's make sure this is still happy. Which one is this? This is the obc one. Let's go back to the Swift sample. Oh, that's not the right one. The package. Maybe I don't have it. I may have just closed app code by mistake. That's all right. Well, let me do it in Xcode for a change. And change this so you can see it. And if everything is fine, the test should still pass. Okay. That is good enough, and I'm going to close that because I don't want to leave things open as I fiddle around. This all seems good, except, what's this? I don't think I want, I think I need to ignore this, but I'm not really ready to ignore it yet. Maybe I'll just leave it there. Let me git add sample app. And I'll just leave that untracked. There. So we've got yeah. This should we can now see it's deleting various things and adding this new file, which is not a folder at all. And I'll try to clean this up later. All right, so let's, and this is really, I'm trying to figure out how to characterize this. because it's not a change to the production code. This is really a testing code. It's also sort of documentation, but I'm going to say this is test only. Change sample Swift package something like that. With that, we should be able to do the other one. Same way. So let me git rm and remove the folder itself, and then symlink like that. That's pretty good. Let's try this again. This time, all the D's show up here. And this should still be fine, and it's good. I'm closing it out of an abundance of caution because Xcode freaks out if you change anything under it. I think this reflects a design philosophy between Xcode and AppCode, is that Xcode assumes, Apple assumes, you're only using Apple stuff ever and always. And that if you are coding in Swift, you must be using Xcode, and you would not be editing the code elsewhere. There are other options, not just AppCode, as Dave Verwer's newsletter noted. You could use VS Code. You could use your favorite text editor. Now, you probably wouldn't most of the time, but sometimes you do. But the main thing that really bites about updating stuff is Git. So, for example, you have a project open, and then you say, okay, I'm gonna like do a pull, and that changes things underneath you, and Xcode freaks out, right? At least it often does, and sometimes it just loses its mind. AppCode says, whoop, things have changed. I need to reload this project. And it sort of goes, and comes back. All right, so let's add tests and check this out. And this is good enough. I think I am going to amend this to the previous commit. So I do this with a shortcut. And that looks fine. All right. We still have stuff that I need to ignore specifically in the package because, hey, it's using a package. So let me, I keep wanting to delete this, but no, let me leave it there. Because I don't think there's a Gitignore in here. But I should be able to add one, I think, at this level. Let me go to Gitignore and just quickly look up, like if we use Packages build. That's interesting. That's not. I expect this will be the same, that it's an alias. I may just have to ignore it myself. And I should do this in both Xcode and AppCode to check. So, and just for kicks, let me go in here and have a look around. Yeah, it's got package stuff in here. Specifically that package resolved. So let's do this. If maybe I can say Swift PM like that. Let's see what this does. It's correct. I like that. Before I actually, let me just check this in. Let's see, ignore. Whoops. I need to change this, maybe. No, I don't want it to get to add everything because by default, because it caught me. Like it would have picked up the folder that I didn't want, and then I'd have to exclude it. I kind of like separating add and the other stuff. All right. Well then, my other experiment is to try to open this in AppCode. And Quicksilver is not liking that lately, or AppCode is not liking that. I can't tell which. So drag it over. And do a build. I'm doing this just in case AppCode puts package resolution stuff in a different place, in its own place. It's still processing, but the build is done. All right, let's have a look. Hey, it's clean. Okay. I think that's good. Okay, so what we have now is I got rid of all that duplicate code, but we have this other thing called a Swift sample package. And just to confirm, it has, where do you see the packages? Here it is. So it's going out and fetching the package from the latest pushed sources on main. That is what I want. Everything else in here is symlinked. So what I want to do is not just build this, I want to add this to the tests. And I've got run tests here. And I'm trying to remember, but why try to remember? Let's go see. out in the actions, I've got a build workflow. Let's have a look at what it looks like. Build without tests and a build and test. Build without tests, Objective-C, build without tests. Something there. Can't quite see it. All right. It's time to go look at what is inside. So inside of GitHub workflows, I've got the build workflow. Let me make this nice and big for y'all. Y'all, I say, as if there were more than one person here. Okay, so here's the source of my GitHub action. And so it's got these different sections. Build without tests. I want to add another build and test thing in here. Like build and test Swift package or something like that. Build and test Swift from package. But what is this doing versus what is that doing? And I don't quite remember. So let's have a look at the matrix versus what's going on. Okay, so here's build without tests and here's build and test. Okay, so build without tests is just building the project, and it is building the Objective-C by itself. I'm trying to remember why I don't build and test the Objective-C also. And I don't remember if it was just a cheat for the sake of time, or if it messed up my code coverage, because I've got what am I using for coverage? I don't have coverage. Then I'm not going to worry about it. All right, then it's probably just for the sake of time, which is not great. I think I was iterating really quickly during the Swift stuff. All right, whereas build and test was doing this one. So I feel like what I want to do is a matrix, a build and test matrix. Let's change things around. This is not the direction I thought we would go today at all. But as I said at the beginning, I had this nagging feeling that I ought to stick with the Swift package manager stuff, ship it, and then worry about any Objective-C extras. Which means I guess we're not done with this series yet. Good news. All right. Now, I think there might be a way to test GitHub Actions locally, but I don't know, and I don't want to try to do this now. I think the easiest way still and this this is where CI can become a pain, is that to really test it, you've got to run it on the build server. So let's do this. How to do this in steps. Stepwise. Stepwise, I think I would like to use the many of one pattern. What I mean by that, and let's see if there's a... Ah. Many of one. Here we go. Many of one is a neat refactoring pattern that Llewellyn Falco, I think he named. And there's an exercise that I have in Swift, but the idea is we have a single value, or in this case, come on, a single test configuration. And I want to change this to a matrix. I want it to do the Swift thinking. I at least want it to do the Swift package manager. And maybe also this one. Anyway, I want this to have multiple things. So I want it to be a matrix, build it up. The way to do this with the many of one pattern is to say, okay, then I'm going to convert from a single array to an array of one. Once you do that, then you can say, now we can add more things to it. So that is what I want to do. I want a matrix with a run config that will do these different things. Oh, interesting. That's why I have this. I was like, why am I building this first when it's testing? It's because this is for Apple TV. I forgot that this framework is good for Apple TV code, which I've never written. All right. Mudshark, is there anyone else here yet that I should say hello to? I mean, no, I'm afraid to look myself because then it would probably like cause an echo and all that. So let's see if we can't. Just you and me. Thanks for hanging out. Project, scheme, SDK, destination in a run config strategy matrix. All right. Let's do this. Instead of env, I want this, where the project is going to be this. Let's wrap this. No, let's not wrap it. The scheme will be this. The SDK will not be Apple TV. And the destination, iPad. iPad because the alert can come up as a popover. So it has more features, as it were, one more feature on iPad than it does on iPhone. So I predict that by doing this now, I will have a matrix of 1. Let's give it a try. Wait a second. Did I not save it? I didn't save it. Man, this is ginormous. Why did I make this so big? That's better. Just matching the font sizes between presentation and presentation large. I've been using large for other things, for the screencasts I make for the e-learning. And all right, so now let me git commit. And here, this is an environment change. It's not really a code change, it's a configuration change of how this is tested. So I'm going to call this an E-, and say that's good enough for me. And we'll push. Let me kill my signing agent and try to push again. Oh no. Really? Crap. Oh. Hang on a second. I just want to pull this aside so that I can see it, but you can't in case anything funny happens. But I'm surprised. Password. Oh, shoot. Why is it asking me for a password when it's got the token, except the token just expired, and I regenerated a token. So I thought that the signing agent would pick that up. Personal access tokens, blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. There. Phew. So what I did was searched my password manager for what is the personal access token for this computer for GitHub, and use that as the password, and then everything's okay. All right. Phew. So here we should see it start to work. We want there are two workflows that fire off. One is build and the other is update markdown snippets. This one is a great thing I learned from Llewellyn Falco about, whoop. Well, that failed. Update markdown snippets is a thing to basically have your markdown documentation pull in references to other things, generate table of contents, or bring in code examples from the actual code. So that's its own thing. Now, what happened here? Whoa. Seems I didn't have it quite right. That the all the variables are empty. Oops. All right, so I've got a missing piece. I need it to use the variables. So it used to be an env, and now it's in matrix. And so I need to bring this here. There we go. All right, let's try this again. Save. Okay. This is this is the scary part of here. I'll do it outside so that people can see it nice and big. People, I say, because there will be other folks watching after the fact. This is the scariest part of CI, and where you see lots of frustrated commit messages is like fix, because you don't know. And this is where it would be nice to have a local thing. Maybe that's something I should look into real quick. But to basically do local checking of GitHub actions. You fix to use matrix. Let's try that again. Push. And back we go. I'm going to assume, for the sake of time, I'm going to assume that this will succeed. And assuming it will succeed, what is my next step? And if it fails, I'll just bail. My next step will be to run tests of same thing, except it won't be Swift sample. It will be Swift sample package. I think that's what I called it. Yep. All right, so this is what's standing by. So if this is successful, how long does this take? Oh, it takes a full 5 minutes to get through the whole thing and get to green. But it shouldn't take that long to do, like, I'm going to trust that the other parts of this are okay. So let's have a look. Let's watch it. Oh, there it is. This matrix of build and test is green, so that's good. The rest, I'm going to trust that the rest is fine. So And do I have this set up to cancel? Yes, I do have this set up to cancel. So let's me go ahead and push this change. And this is like that. All right, let's push it. Because I have this cancel in progress, true for anything that is in the same group, where the group is this magic stuff, that should just, yeah, that canceled. There we go. So it stopped that because why? And now, well, that's the wrong one. There. Now we should have two. There we go. Build and test Swift sample P and Swift sample /. And they're both running now. I think I want to bring the Objective-C in here as well. Is that good enough? Or do I want to leave the Objective-C alone? Well, that's done. Wow, that's fast. What's happening in here? Objective-C is done, and then the Apple TV, it's just, for Apple TV, it's just like, does it build? I think I'll leave this as it is for now, until I feel the need, the itch. And that itch may come, and then I've got a place to move things. But let's see this finish. This is where I wish my background music were working. I got it set up, and in fact, if you, well, it's not playing today, but normally when I start my stream, I can see that it's set up. It shows that I've got the official Twitch licensed for streaming, but not for recording music. You can see the credit going to it, but never been able to hear it. And that's too bad. So hang in here. Let's finish this out though. Let's get to green. And it's only Mudshark here today, but let me say that for folks who are watching this on the replay, either on Twitch or on YouTube, if you have any questions about anything you've seen, please feel free to put a comment. I guess you can't comment in Twitch once the stream is done. In YouTube, you can put a comment in there. I'll see it. Or you can ask me on Twitter. I'm Qcoding. And actually, just like I offer when I normally have more people on here, if you have any question at all, even if it's unrelated to what I've been doing, feel free to shoot me questions. I'm more than happy to answer. Why is this taking so long? It seems to be stuck. Let's have a peek. Oh, it hasn't even started. That's because I'm not a paying customer. But I can get by with that because GitHub very cleverly, I think, it's not just generous, it's also a business move, supports open source, which this is. That's because I'm an open source non-paying customer. and I just ran several jobs, I'm probably in the back of the queue, especially for iOS. If this were Linux, it would be fast. There it goes. Thank you. Speaking of Linux, let's have a look at, I've got build without tests running on macOS. Come on. Test on macOS. Build Carthage on macOS. Pod spec on macOS. Auto merge is running on Ubuntu. Just because I don't need the Mac to do this stuff. And this is a section where it pulls in automatic updates. The only automated thing that Dependabot checks is that I use is GitHub Actions. So we'll automatically update GitHub Actions. All this is stuff that I've learned from pairing with Luell and Falco on approval tests. I don't know why this is still circling when Carthage, it thinks it's building Carthage. Oh well. Almost there. So Mudshark, I hope you've had a good vacation. Sorry, this is your last week. All right. So Carthage is built fine. Pod spec is fine. It fires off auto merge, which is fast, especially because it was an Ubuntu check. It didn't need to wait for a Mac machine, which takes some time. And this is just broken here. All right. I think that is good enough that I should release this. But maybe I'll do that next week. Like maybe I'll do this live, do a live release so you can see. Also, I realized that I've got run tests. What was this for? This is so that I could check. This is doing Objective-C and Swift and doing my Apple TV tests locally. And so this is not related to CI. This is only for me to say, you know, let me just run everything and make sure in case anything goes wrong. All right. Well, that's good enough for one day. Thank you, Mudshark, for hanging out. And I hope this is interesting and certainly was much more CI-ish. Add package to that script. What do you mean? Oh, to this script. To this script. Yeah. Let me do that. Let me do that. Good idea. There. And I'm not going to wait. You don't have to wait around for me. But actually, it should go pretty quickly because it's not waiting around for GitHub to give me a Mac machine, but it can take a little time. Anyway, assuming this all goes well. Oh, I probably need to provide simulator, an iPad mini. Yeah. Let me set these up real quick. All right, so Apple TV I've got. iPhone 11 Pro. Why am I not sure why I chose the 11 Pro? iPad mini 6th generation. I don't really care which. Change to Air 4. Well, I don't really care which simulator I use. From the old Xcode. All right. Well, let's try it, right? So, doing things to match, I've got, and this is just local, so it doesn't matter. As long as these, I have these set up. So this will be iPad Air 4th generation, and let's try this. Here we go. Run tests. That looks better. Should I use an XS instead of an 8? Just to update, just to be more recent, I suppose. Maybe, but once this is fine. I found, by the way, I'm using Xcode. It's it's faster, it's cleaner than Xcode. Xcode is really old, but I chose not to use it on GitHub because in order to use it, I'd have to tell my my actions to download Xcode. And Xcode is on there in the Mac images by default. So it's like, okay, fine. I'll just use Xcode. Whoa, a whole bunch of people came in. Hello. And yeah, you can't sorry. I've got my thing set up to sort of limit people who I don't know, but greetings to anyone who's just joining. I am at the very end of this stream. Welcome everyone. This is only like the second time I've ever been rated, and I have just finished up. Let me do this. Okay, so this. Thank you, Mudshark, for this great idea. And let me add that. So this is, I just updated, what I did in this session was I went through and updated my GitHub actions. Yeah, this is for iOS code. And that worked, but I also have a local a local script in case I want to like just run things locally. And Mudshark caught me out and said I should add this thing that I just added. So to commit this, I'm going to use this thing called Arlo's commit notation. Okay, so this is good because assuming you are developers, Arlo's commit notation is a way of annotating your commits by risk. So there's the what's the name of the other one where you say feature or test or refactor? It's very wordy, and that's only sort of like what you are doing, but it doesn't capture how risky is it. The Arlo's commit notation, as you see here, uses 3 characters to describe, thank you, conventional commits, to describe the risk, where the risk is like star is the worst, like it's just broken. And then the next one down is bang bang. That's still kind of risky, but it's not broken. The next one down would be it originally used to be nothing, but to make it space the right number of characters, it's just space minus. And finally, the lowest risk things are lowercase. So if you see here, there's capital R for one type of refactoring, and there's lowercase r for another type of refactoring. In this case, I just did not a non-code change. It's around my local script to run tests. So it's just an E. It's not going to break anything in the code. I know that. The only thing it'll break is itself. So add Swift like that. And let me, I don't need to push it right away. But with that, my name is John Reed. I am a coach and trainer with Industrial Logic. I am the author of this book. I'm at the end of my stream, but I will entertain, I should say, if you have any random questions, either about iOS development or about, say, agility, good or bad, or test-driven development, those are the things that are really what I'm about. So I would be glad to take any questions for just random folks who came into a raid. If any of you are still here. Unfortunately, my audience meter is broken right now, so I can't tell how many of you are still around. And I'm in California, by the way, in the United States. "15 folks. Thank you, Mudshark." my not so automated audience meter. Yeah, got any questions about TDD, refactoring, iOS, agility, good and bad? I can toss out something controversial and say pull requests, not a fan. Thank you. Oh no, look out below. I appreciate all your other folks. Steffi128, Techie Girl, Finite Singularity, and Jim Vic. It's fun to be rated. It's rather a surprise because it doesn't happen very often. You just got lucky. I happen to, I'm normally gone by this point, but I'll stick around a little bit more in case anyone's got a random thought or a random question. And if not, we'll follow Oh No, Look Out Below's comment and to say, thank you. Thank you for joining in the raid. I hope this was kind of fun to see a Mac and iOS developer and a coach talking about commits. Oh, maybe I should share the commit thing. Hang on a second. You can learn more about Arlo's commit notation here. And if you would like to use my template, I have that here. All right, so you folks can go check those out and see if they're interesting to you. Basically, the first link is from Arlo himself about his notation. And the second link is how I put it into my, my Git commit template. All right, with that, thank you for the raid. And I'll be back again. What are we going to do next week? I think next week I might actually ship this, let you see how I'm going to package this and into a release so that we can get the Swift package stuff out finally. All right. Take care, folks. Be good. Be kind. And be patient with other folks. All right. Thank you, everybody. If you want to join, I'll be back again next week. Take care.